Now, ahead of Gareth Southgate's first game in charge of England, he said he wanted to play with bravery and style, and then they laboured to a 2-0 win against Malta.
Yeah.
But Thomas Tuchel was very bold in his press conference yesterday, and he said that he wants the team to play with a hunger to win rather than a fear to lose. And he added, "I've heard a lot that it's a heavy shirt. It is, in fact, not." And he held one up and said, look,
easy.
Tops off.
Yeah, I love this, to be honest, because I think it's easier for him to say this as a non-English person and to just kind of dispel all this kind of stuff around it. I mean, whether that will prove to be the case in reality or not is obviously yet to be seen. But I do think there's a lot to be said for trying to sort of like demystify a lot of the kind of stuff around England that does make players play within themselves a little bit, and that does make it look like a heavy shirt. Obviously, the press come into that. The kind of the essentially the intensity of support of England comes into that. But I think it's a good plan to try and take some of the sting out of that type of thing
and focus on the football a little bit. I think with Tuchel, when he came in, he obviously wanted to be the coach rather than the manager, and obviously Gareth Southgate, and he spoke about Gareth Southgate's politicised decisions and all that stuff, which I think is a bit of a cop-out personally, because the England job is the England job, and you either take it with everything or you have someone over the top of you and become like a director of football and coach kind of relationship, which we don't have at the moment. But I think it's quite smart that he just sort of said, I'm just the coach, we're just going to play football, and we shouldn't fear anyone when we get out on the pitch and stuff. So I think I think he's talking all nice, and I'm enjoying it immensely. And then you do look at his first squad and you go, are you a bit mad?
Yeah,
are you a bit mad?
I think we know he is a bit mad.
He is a bit mad,
but that's quite enjoyable as well. And actually, I mean, if you look at the actual words of what he said written down, it does sound quite intense and it sounds quite full on, but his manner seems fairly relaxed. The players seem fairly relaxed. I think that's quite a nice balance as well.
I think he's building on the work of Gareth Southgate.
Absolutely.
I know that
as he has to.
Yeah, I know a lot of the papers and the press are saying that he's had a dig at Southgate and so on and so forth. I mean, you could interpret it as that, of course. I mean, when he says
he's asked direct questions and he's given direct answers,
he's given honest answers, hasn't he?
Yeah, and to be honest, probably giving by and large the answers I think is a fair assessment of what happened. I mean, when he says the shirt is heavy, I mean, I think Southgate did a lot to lighten the load of that shirt. It's just that when it came to the crunch, you'd say England were a little bit short. But
and he's
chainmail again.
And he's been employed. We're not looking for an era. Southgate put the ladders up, and he just climbs the wrestling ladder to grab that money in the bank thing. You just need someone to just jump up that ladder and get the briefcase. So that's the brief, isn't it? We're not looking for the next 10 years. We're looking for the next tournament.
This is a spin-off.
Yes,
isn't it?
This is a spin-off. This is Frasier.
A spin-off. Yeah, the only way England could win a trophy is in a spin-off.
Yeah, in like a sort of one-shot kind of 18-month gig, just one tournament.
Yeah.
This isn't canon. Don't worry about it. Yeah. The manager's German, for God's sake. This is some really out there kind of weird interpretation of England.
Into the Tuchel-verse.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you think of the comments, though, that he made? That he was interviewed by, was it Gabriel Clark on ITV, and was asked about what did you think of England at the Euros last summer? And this is a lot of the chat has been this, and he said that England played in a way that they didn't want to go out of the tournament. They didn't play in a way that they wanted to win. They didn't give any excitement. They didn't play with the tempo and rhythm and the patterns of play that one might have expected, or indeed would need to win a tournament, which are quite bold and strong things to say. I don't think that is a dig at Southgate. I think he's just quite honest.
Yeah, which I think is really, really important in a manager putting their own stamp on a new era, one shot or not, but also because it helps no one to sort of dither and kind of be in denial about what England's problems were, because it's now Tuchel's job to fix those, isn't it? It's now Tuchel's job to make sure we don't repeat those. And without meaning to sort of do a kind of rehash of the Southgate era too much, I think essentially he played very, very cautiously at the beginning, because that was the appropriate thing to do with the players that we had. The players then got better over time, because we happened to be blessed with a lot of good players coming through in the time that Southgate was manager,
and he made it more enjoyable for England.
He did make it more enjoyable. I think there was a sense, though, wasn't there, that we could never quite fully push through into believing ourselves as protagonists and the team that we're going to set the agenda and go out there and essentially be what Tuchel is saying England should be now, the team to beat, that exciting team. And I think it was very, very difficult for England to evolve that much under Southgate and see themselves that way. And I think it's really encouraging that he is trying to change that.
Yeah, I think with Southgate and England, again, without going over it too much, it was a case of restoring England to where they kind of should be. And everyone in England now, there is an expectation that is very, very high. I think in previous tournaments in the early noughties, there was an expectation because if you look at the squad, it was a very good squad of players. And you think, well, with those players, surely we should do better. But then there was the psychological barriers, which Southgate punched through most of, other than getting the hands on that trophy. And
also there was a technical element, right, where English players perhaps weren't as technical, or definitely weren't as technical as their kind of foreign or European counterparts in some degrees at the start of his reign. Yeah, but I think that's slightly different now. Yeah,
and with Southgate, Qatar 2022, I would say England were on the front foot. It just so happened that it was a game against France that they didn't have, but. Looking at the last Euros, which is what Tuchel was asked about, there's no doubt that England were a bit poor, to say the least.
Sure.
I'd say a bit poor. Some people might say bloody awful. And they kind of trudged their way to the final. And it was a bit disappointing because England didn't play with that expression. And the reason why I think Tuchel answered the question like that, if Tuchel answers it in a kind of politician-like way of, that was the previous regime and England got to the final. On another day, they might have won it, blah, 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 blah. If he says all that, then it's
why are we paying you all this money?
There's that as well, but also it's kind of at odds, or not at odds, but it doesn't follow through with what he has been saying. He's spoken about playing with an intense style, a Premier League style, all that kind of stuff. If he then says, well, this is what I thought went wrong in the previous tournament, or this is where I thought they were lacking, it's bold and it's setting your stall out to say, right, it's this is what I'm going to do.
Well, that's what he's there for, isn't it? That's the whole point of him, coming in and trying a different approach to get a better result. It's why he's there. I'm surprised there's been sort of this. Actually, I'm not surprised that people are interpreting it as like he's having a dig at Southgate because it's just a load of nonsense to sell papers, isn't it?
If he'd have said, I would have dropped Kane in the final, pushed the microphones over, leave the room. Brilliant.
Well, I think I think there's probably a bit of excitement with Tuchel now. He's got to win over certain people, absolutely. But with these comments, again, he's looking at that England and go, yeah, no, that's not how a team of mine would play. That's not how I would approach it. And I think people will think, all right, okay, this is what we would like. Now, we are going to talk more about these comments and what they mean on tomorrow's mailbag as well. So Luke and I picked our starting 11 that we'd like to see for the game against Albania. You have it in front of you, gentlemen. Pickford in goal. We've gone for Lewis Skelly at left back. Gay is centre-half. The other centre-half, we were kind of thinking, what's the most likely? And we thought Ezri Konsa, even though I'm sure Petey would like to see Big Dan
I've
Burn.
got a few things to say about that.
Reece James at right back, and then a midfield three of Rice. Curtis Jones was the one I went for, because I'd like to see that, and I think he's only got really his central midfielders who could play there. Jones and then maybe Henderson. I don't know if there's too many others in there. Bellingham, of course, Gordon and Foden either side of Kane. I think he will go for Foden because, lest we forget, he's a very, very good player. So that's what we think is going to be starting 11. Any comments on that, Peter? I'll come to you first with your big Dan Burn hat on.
Well, I think the whole kind of I could see him playing Burn. I could
as well,
because I just think gigantic men love gigantic men, and we forget how tall Thomas Tuchel is.
He is.
He's absolutely going for it. You want a bit of a statement win as your first match, maybe a statement defender doing bits and having a good time and becoming that defender. You need that Harry Maguire good time guy for to characterise all of the good stuff you're going to be doing. But I like what he's been talking about, Jude Bellingham, and how he wants it to play further up the field and stuff. And we did see his best work when he was just on the corner of the 8-yard box.
I would agree with Curtis Jones being that third man in midfield, because I think actually that's a really well balanced midfield, and that's an important part of it, isn't it? Rather than just chucking names in there. With Foden, I'm tempted to go. I'm not sure about him going from the right, but looking at the other options on the website, I think he probably will pick him over Bowen, and Bowen's really the only other option that you'd kind of have out there in terms of someone who plays regularly there, unless you were to repurpose someone like Morgan Gibbs-White or Eza and actually have them playing kind of with Bellingham as a sort of number 10 type. And I don't know how likely that is, but that's actually the kind of exciting thing about this, isn't it? We don't really know how Tuchel's lineup is going to translate to where the players actually operate on the pitch. We simply don't know yet.
But it would be a chance. I mean, if Foden or whoever starts on that right-hand side, it is a chance because Saka's injured, who is an automatic starter when fit, and Cole Palmer is also injured, who would be another one maybe vying for that place, although some people prefer for him to play inside. So I think getting the balance right is going to be difficult. But I get the impression with Tuchel he's not afraid to make those brave calls. You know, we were all kind of a bit annoyed that Gordon didn't get more minutes in the Euros that Foden was playing.
I think he's nailed on to get loads of minutes, Gordon, however he plays.
The position is, you would imagine, unless Tuchel's got other ideas, you'd imagine it's probably his to lose. I mean, he played a lot there under the brief reign of Lee Carsley in charge, of course.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what he asks Harry Kane to do. Tuchel knows Kane well. He managed him at Bayern, of course. And you would imagine it probably wouldn't be that different to what Harry Kane normally does. They'll drop in deep and so on, which is why I think Gordon's
maybe a little bit less of that when you got Bellingham in there.
Possibly.
But I think Gordon, as an England prospect, it will be transformed with Tuchel. Dembele, Pulisic, obviously did wonders with those two characters' careers. Like he's a man who just loves pace. He loves width, and I just think he's gonna have a lovely time.
But I think that the one kind of caveat to that might be that he's obviously picked Marcus Rashford for a reason, so he's probably going to want to take a look at him over one of these two games. So I guess Rashford and Gordon will probably do a bit of a job share.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, again, England got options because you think about there's players who haven't made the squad, and it'd be ridiculous almost to mention Jack Grealish's name. So, but I think with Kane, I always quite like having a runner beyond him. And I think at the Euros didn't have that, really. Saka can do that, but he's not really that type of player. Wants the ball probably more to feet. Yeah. Whereas Gordon, Rashford, they are, particularly with Rashford, he was a striker, really. You know what I mean? He's been converted into a winger, so have that. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Albania are a tough opponent. They're quite tight at the back, all the cliches. They'll make it difficult, etc., etc. And they're no mugs. They were at the Euros as well. Greece 0, Scotland 1, of course, was the score. Another British side has won in Greece, and it was Scotland this time. And obviously Scott McTominay scored the goal. He won the penalty, or was fouled. Did you think it was a foul, Jim? Because there was a controversy about this. Was he fouled? Did he initiate contact? The referee gave the penalty, and I suspect it's one of those ones where VAR would have ultimately gone, whatever, we'll go with you.
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty.
Did you?
Yeah. Possibly
I thought it was as well.
Possibly it's my ancient Scottish blood. Being a bit biased.
No such thing as Scottish blood. Let's be clear about that.
Put my Jimmy hat on, right? And look at it that way.
But any hat you own,
I suppose it is actually, isn't it? Yeah.
I very much enjoy when a player wins the penalty and scores the penalty. There's just something lovely about the holistic kind of like start, middle, end to that story. Yes. And then we can get on with the rest of the match.
I know what you mean.
Very much enjoyable.
Like me, were you confused when you first heard about the Elgin Marbles? You thought it was from Elgin, the town in Scotland.
yeah, very good point. Actually, yeah, they've probably got some kind of call for it. Do you not think that
seem that unreasonable they'd be in that museum? It's not that far away. Oh, I see. Yes. It's like everything else in it.
Come on.
It just seems
a lot of legwork went into that museum.
It just seems very weird that Greece.
No one talks about the walls.
No,
do they?
No. Security. How much money the electrics cost every year?
Yeah, the ironically named British Museum.
Yeah, the roof's great. You want rain in your museum, do you?
No, I don't, Jim. I really, really don't. But I tell you what, though, Scotland played well in that first half. I do specify first half.
Yeah. First half of the two halves.
I do. Old Che Adams had a couple of chances.
He did, yes.
But look, didn't matter. Well, it may matter because it's a two-legged affair.
Yeah, there was one chance in particular he had a lot more time than I think he realised. But I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to catch the goalkeeper sort of off his line a little bit, but he had time to take a touch and plays it a bit more. And you're right, it could come back to bite them. You'd expect they would get it done at home, but Greece kind of battered them in the second half.
Yeah, Lewis Ferguson summed it up well by saying, the first half, we looked the most dangerous team, and then we showed the dirty side of the game, and we've come away with a big result. And they needed to do that. And there was a bit of chat with Scotland, as there is with every with so many teams these days. Is it back three or back four? Who's going to do back three, back four? And in the back four was in the first half, looked pretty good. And I think if Steve Clarke hadn't told them to go to a back three / back five in the second half, it was very much, I think we are going to need to do this, defend the goal.
Did it encourage the 24 shots on the goal?
Well, how about that? 24 shots they faced, Scotland. Their most while keeping a clean sheet since that game when they robbed France in 2007.
I've not seen this many shots in Scotland since I drank with the Queen Mother in Balmoral.
I see.
It doesn't really work because they were away from home, but it doesn't matter.
I can imagine the Queen Mother liked a shot, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Gin.
Sherry.
All a lot.
Jaeger
As long as she poured you a pint of beer like she does in that photo. That's the main thing. Well, Scotland play Greece in 3 of their next 7 games, quite incredibly. They're going to be very familiar with each other. The second leg of this playoff is on Sunday afternoon.
Greece must be annoyed to be having to deal with this.
Do you think?
Over and over again.
They're rated so highly, and they've been playing such nice football, and they're here.
I think they'll be disappointed because, as you say, Peter, they have been a force at home. And against England, of course, they had the great win at Wembley. I know England were, it was a funny side, Carsley, but still,
funny side.
But still, England are a better side than Greece. It was still a great win, and
it was a work in progress.
Yeah,
very much in the sort of like, this is going to not be ready by the time it gets to the fringe level. That wasn't it? It was like it was like 3 people in a pub.
Exactly. And then the game when England went to Greece and won 3-0. Well, it was 2 late goals, and actually, Pickford had to make a couple of saves, and so they gave a decent account of themselves. I think 3-0 slightly flattered England, you could say, on the night. So as Steve Clarke said, there's still a game to be played here. The tie is not dead.
No,
is what he said, and he is right. We shall see on Sunday afternoon. I think it's all set up nicely for a good game.
Especially as Kieran Tierney is apparently now a left winger. Just permanently.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Do you think...
Let's have more of it.
Yeah, why is he not pushed up there a bit more for Arsenal? Against PSV, he was. In the second.
Yeah, against Man United, he came on to play on the left wing ahead of Raheem Sterling, which is obviously a little bit of a mini story at the time. So he has got the skills to be a sort of out-and-out winger in the traditional sense. Yeah. So that's probably the thinking of both Arteta and Clarke, I'd imagine.
Well, Clarke also tried to fit in, there was always that chat, wasn't there, on that left-hand side with Robertson as well. And Scotland had 1 or 2 injuries as well going into this. So look, it's a win's a win.
Came in, played very well.
Yeah, a win's a win on the road, especially
Dirty boy.
in a clean sheet. And the aforementioned Andy Robertson earned his 81st Scotland cap. He's now 3rd on their all-time list. How about that? Now, did you see Ange Postecoglou was seen with some Scotland fans in Greece ahead of this game? Who would he have been cheering for? Presumably Greece, because obviously he's of Greek heritage and so on. But he talks the talk, and he probably was like, I used to manage Celtic. I'm one of you.
In both camps.
Is he scouting for his next job, maybe?
That's what it is.
A Pardew move?
Yeah, I forgot that old Pards went out there. So a good win for Scotland, and as I say, all nicely poised for that home leg at Hampden on Sunday afternoon. And the Republic of Ireland got a win away.
They did,
They beat Bulgaria 2-1. The first time Bulgaria have lost a home match in over a year.
Brian Kerr in the Irish TV post-match was so bowled over. He has you see him every now and again. You familiar with Brian Kerr's work, the old manager?
Yep.
He always sits very far back in his chair.
Right.
And he just needs a little sofa. Will you get that man a little sofa bed? Or at least a recliner.
Bed.
Yeah, just have a little lie down or something.
How far back do you want this man to be broadcast?
I just think the better Ireland player, that seems he just gets more and more bowled over.
That would be quite something, though. If
it's like a reverential Japanese bow. He just goes back 45 degrees.
Why not have him lying down doing it? So when they cut to him, you just get like a little camera on the ceiling, like a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
Well, surely it should be depending on the result, right? If they win the next time, he can be a bit further back.
True.
Until eventually he's in a hammock, or I don't know.
He's like one of those red fishes you used to put in your hand. Those red plastic fishes that used to roll over if you were horny or whatever.
I haven't thought of them since the 80s.
Well, imagine a little red Brian Kerr.
Do you not
red
remember
fish.
them, Jim?
No.
A little red fish. It was a fortune-telling fish you used to put in your hand in the 80s, and it would do different things. The packet, it would tell you if the fish sort of rolls over and curls up in a ball, it's it's always hot me.
It's death.
Death.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, and if it just falls out your hand, it does. It's you're angry, all this stuff. So that.
Yeah, I don't remember this at all.
A tiny Brian Kerr in your hand.
Yeah.
I forget that you're a Viz character sometimes.
Good old Brian Kerr, though. But yeah, well, I mean, he must have been delighted with this one because Ireland obviously deserved it. They two nice goals. In fact, all the goals were quite enjoyable in this game. Petkov was he got a lovely little, it was a back heel assist and a lovely finish.
And when you're watching that, you're like, it's 6 minutes in. This is going to go one way.
Exactly, with
away
their
from home. But wow.
Yeah. And then Ireland responded. Doherty got a brave
Lovely
winning
brave
goal.
header, yeah.
Do you, I found it quite funny. There was reports that him and Hal Grimson had a bit of a falling out before the game.
Right,
that was what some of the reports were suggesting. They kind of downplayed it. I found it funny though that after the game, Doherty's got the winner, and Hal Grimson, what a player! Just great stuff, very brave, and he just talked flowingly. And I thought, okay,
yeah, I've had a falling out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but good win. Troy Parrott started up front ahead of Evan Ferguson. But they've got a couple of decent options.
They do,
up there.
and you know what? They've got some very good young players coming through in Ireland. There's Mason Mellier, a few others are earning sort of big money moves in terms of the kind of transfer fees that are regularly paid to League of Ireland clubs, and there's a lot of excitement for the future at the moment.
Yeah, and much needed, of course, because it has been pretty bad for a fair few years now with Ireland. Here's a fact for you. Ireland's first ever senior international fixture at the 1924 Olympics was against Bulgaria.
Oh,
that
is a nice, lovely little start, middle, and end to a story.
It's quite
you like to
a
expand
strong
on that?
indication of a slow news week as well. Isn't it?
Well, I just thought
it's a very Football Ramble international show. Fact.
I just thought that 101 years on from that fixture, are we going to see some sort of recognition from it when they face each other in Dublin?
Oh, I don't know.
That would be. I think that's worthy. If you're at the FAI, why not have a little nod to that?
Yeah. Get down off the crowd. Stop crowd surfing for a second and remember legacy.
Or at least get them to deposit you in your seat by your desk.
Yes, that's right.
And do some work.
Write on Sharpies, write hello again on the back of your shirts for Bulgaria.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Yeah.
This is history.
Good.
Nice.
There we are.
Nice. Thank you.
There we are. Now let's move on to the Nations League quarterfinals that happened last night. First leg quarterfinal. There you are. We are talking about the Nations League, everybody.
It's very hard to keep track of, even when it's literally your job as it is ours.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Denmark beat Portugal 1-0. Rasmus Højlund scored again.
On fire.
He did this Cristiano Ronaldo celebration.
I love that.
It just keeps going.
That is heartwarming to see him score.
Yeah, it is.
I think we've all felt quite sorry for him. But scored again so soon after scoring against Leicester last weekend, which of course ended a 21-game drought. And he got a vital one in just the only goal of the game after Christian Eriksen had missed a penalty.
Yeah,
Costa was very busy in goal for
Portugal. It's a very good save,
was.
Actually, wasn't it?
Because it was well hit fairly in the corner. And he didn't even extend his arms. I thought, blimey, the leap on that man.
I know Christian Eriksen can probably play as long as he wants to play for that national side, but he is a shadow of who he was at Brentford, for example.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He's no spring chicken.
No.
But all things considered.
I mean, he 2 thumbs up.
He died.
And
came back to life.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Apparently he told Danish media this week that he's expecting to leave Manchester United this summer. Which that would be a good move.
Yeah,
wherever it is.
Not a huge surprise, is it?
Because of the things that people have said in charge of the club.
Where are you going? Sunday league.
Just away. Just away.
You know what? I'm just going to lay face down on the bed and try not to think. I'm not going to do anything.
I want to go to a library, just read for a bit.
Yeah. A spa library. Sit in some water and read. That's what he needs to do. But anyway, Denmark hold the advantage in that tie. Now, we know that whoever wins the tie between Germany and Italy will host the little mini tournament for the semis and the final. Well, of course, Germany beat Italy 2-1 last night in Ity. Good win for them at the San Siro. Tonali scored, Peter!
He did.
Back at his old ground.
When I heard that he scored, I thought it was going to be an absolute raker, but it was just a tidy little sort of tap-in, really. Nice.
Good win for Germany, though. Bad news for Arsenal, Jim.
Yep.
Ricardo Calafiore looked like he
did the splits.
He nearly did the splits, and I'll be amazed if he'll be, because he's going to be assessed afterwards. But
apparently he was limping after the game. If anyone didn't see it, sort of with no one around him, he sort of slipped, kind of did the splits and sort of pirouetted and then clutched his left knee immediately. He had a strange injury on international duty with Italy earlier in the season as well, where somebody, like as they were falling over, sort of put their studs into the back of his leg. And it was just the sort of another kind of freak occurrence, and he was injured from the back of that. So this will be a real annoying blow because he's obviously on a job share with Lewis Skelly until one of them gets booked.
Yes.
So that is annoying.
It is annoying. Yeah, and staying with Calafiori, though, did you hear what he said about Mikel Arteta this week? He said, I was immediately struck by how much Arteta cared about getting to know me. One day on the phone, he sent me some photos of my family and asked me to say what each member of the family meant to me.
Wow.
Good Lord.
There were crosshairs on a couple of... No, he didn't say that.
I've done an AI filter and everyone's a bit sexier now.
I got these photos from hanging outside your window.
If you don't track your man...
I'll track your family.
Yeah. So in order of importance, rank them.
I have a particular set of skills.
Will the nonsense never end with Arteta? I'll tell you what, though. Staying with Arsenal things, Netherlands 2, Spain 2. Mikel Merino scoring an injury time equaliser. A poacher's finish.
Tidy little poached goal, wasn't it?
The funny thing was,
Tierney's a winger now. Marino's a striker.
Yeah, but when he scored...
Can't stop Marino's when he's in through.
Nicely done, Peter.
Yeah. A couple of extra S's there, but I think we can workshop it.
It's your Friday too. Yeah. What I liked about that goal is Marino scores when the ball comes into the box. It's parried away by the keeper, who's a bit unsighted, straight into the sort of the 6-yard box, and Marino's the first one to react.
Yeah.
And scores in the 92nd minute, or whatever it was, to get a draw. And I thought to myself, I just thought, well, he will be there. That's where he plays now.
Yeah.
He's stood there, but he's not a striker.
I know. Yeah. I think that'll be 5 goals in 8 games since he moved to being a striker. It's mad.
It is mad. But he's banging them in. We're going to stay, if you like, with Arsenal-y things, Jim. But we're going to go to North America, the continent that will host the World Cup, of course, in the summer after next. The United States had a poor result, Peter. Beaten by Panama 1-0. They're out of the Nations League after a 94th minute winner from Cecilio Waterman. Old Waterman jumped over the advertising hoardings when celebrating. And the CBS desk was there where I didn't see who the other... I assume it was Kate Abdo and one or two of the gang. But Thierry Henry was definitely there.
He was definitely there. Don't we know about it?
Waterman went over to celebrate him. Although, when Waterman celebrates first, he goes up to Henry and he's like shouting. I thought he was going to chin him.
I thought
he was like, the stuff you said about us, you never thought we would do this. And then, of course, he happens, but Henry's a bit like, what is happening?
What is happening? Yeah, he's a real... Because obviously Henry is being employed by CBS, a US outlet, so he has to be remaining on the side of the US, you would imagine.
At least neutral.
At least neutral to keep the money coming in. It was an astonishing... I was going to say assault on a man just trying to do his job.
Do you think he went to hug him? And apparently, from what people say, Henry smells terrific. Yeah. And he probably stopped for a minute and was like, "Oh, you got to tell me where you get that." After anyway, come here.
Human smelling salts.
Yeah, right. And then
calm down.
But the best thing was, though, Jim, he goes in on Henry to give him the big hug and celebration, whether Henry liked it or not. And then the rest of the team jump up and follow. So suddenly,
it's a big pile.
It's the bundle, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the rules of the bundle for anyone who went to school in Britain probably do still apply, just forevermore. We just don't see it executed. Yeah. If on the train home I jump on someone and shout "bundle," I imagine a lot of people would join in just out of habit.
Yeah,
but no different here.
You being you'd be the one that got bundled.
It might be the
bundlee would become the bundle. No, the bundle.
I want to make this clear. If you see me in public, do not bundle me.
You've just got to hope that Kevin Keegan's also on that carriage.
FootballRambleLive.com. Bundle him.
Let's have a bloody big bundle.
Jim.
Let's have a big bundle.
Have a big bundle.
Damn right.
Jim's bunder.
So Henry was stunned, as were the rest of those who were in the US and watching the game at the time, because he didn't think that at all. And, of course, the manager of the US, Mauricio Pochettino, said ahead of the game, "We want to destroy Panama. We want to destroy the next one. We want to win, but destroy." When I say destroy, it's it's in a sporting way.
Yeah.
I'm glad he put that caveat.
Well, he has to these days, doesn't he? Given the things that certain other kind of figures in the US have said about Panama and Greenland.
Yeah.
Just stay away from that, Poch. Stay away from that type of language.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. It's nice to be reminded that Poch is the manager of them. And going into the World Cup, it's a bit of pressure on him as well to deliver. Because
after stuff like this, there is, yeah.
Well, I mean, they're out to destroy. But, I mean... you never want the hosts of a tournament really to go out early because there's something about the fever and so. But this is a poor result,
terrible result.
Yeah, I think you might have a few people. I know we're what are we?
Do the Panamanians know something?
Yeah, maybe Jim. Maybe that's what it is. I know it's a long way off from the World Cup, but it's not going to fill them with a huge. No,
absolutely not. And it's not going to fill them with confidence in Pochettino either, is it?
No, it isn't. It is not. Right, gentlemen, Wales host Kazakhstan tomorrow night at 7:45. Their World Cup qualification campaign begins. Exciting time.
I mean, with all of these overlapping kind of Euros and World Cup over like COVID and stuff, it was all quite confusing when campaigns would start. But I just get the sense that World Cup qualification should have started earlier for Wales.
Do you think?
I don't know why. They just need more of a run up at it.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're not that small a nation, Peter. You're talking about, like the Samoan Islands and stuff when they start their World Cup qualification campaign like a day after the final ends. It's like, right, boys, back on.
Here we go again.
It's going to be our time this time.
It's an exciting time, isn't it? Because the Craig Bellamy era looks like a lot of fun, as actually generally Welsh football has done for a long, long time. I feel slightly jealous of the relationship they have with the national team and the way the fans feel like a big family that's also somehow on a stag do. Just going around together. And Bellamy started really, really well.
Could they treat it like Bellamy stag do, do you think?
Maybe, actually. That'd be good.
Yeah. I know, the weather's going to be quite hot, but will we see Craig Bellamy in the bomber?
I'm thinking like PE vest and shorts. Like white PE stained.
What about
PE
vest under blazer, a la Rabsy Nisbet?
Yeah, he could bring that.
He would obviously look a lot
really
better.
Good. Yeah,
he would do.
Pickup truck for some reason. Sit on the back of a pickup truck. Yeah, back of a pickup truck with a hay bale and a bit of straw in his mouth.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just would enjoy the aesthetic.
No, I don't know why either. I don't think anybody would know.
But lots of suntan lotion, please, because he's very fair.
Yeah. That's assuming that they qualify, of course.
They'll get there. Come on.
You think?
Yeah. They played Kazakhstan.
But it's not.
If they played 10 of those.
It isn't a playoff. Well, just a reminder that they're in with. Guess who they're in with?
Guess who they were in?
Belgium.
Yeah.
Do you remember when England always used to draw Poland?
Yeah.
It was just thing like there's
something's going on here.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
what has happened with the balls?
Yeah, Belgium's still hurting after 2016 that quarter final. We want to play them again. Yeah, they are playing Belgium. They've got North Macedonia, Kazakhstan, and Liechtenstein. So they've
got a really good chance.
They have a chance. I mean, North Macedonia are no mugs, neither Kazakhstan. But I think Wales are a bit better. I mean, Belgium, obviously, the standout team as well. With Thibaut Courtois coming back into the squad after all the unpleasantness, Wales will be hoping that there will be more unpleasantness within the Belgian squad. Now, gentlemen, did you see this? The Welsh Football Collection Museum has unveiled, and it's a wonderful museum, the Welsh Football Collection Museum.
It's one of my favourite museums.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the building.
Well, has unveiled a new object in its collection this week.
Oh.
A tooth.
Oh.
A tooth. It belonged to Gemma Evans, who plays for Wales. It got knocked out in their 2-1 win in Ireland at the end of last year. I love that.
She has agreed to this, right? Presumably.
Collecting them.
Oh, there it is.
Like some kind of boogeyman, a big jar of.
This belongs in a museum.
Yeah. Yeah, is she going to have to become like a cat burglar and get it out of there? Yeah. That's stunning stuff, isn't it? So get yourself down the museum to see Gemma Evans' tooth.
She's a Man United player, so it's just great that Man United can't sell that off.
No,
it's in a museum now, isn't it?
Right, yeah. I think Sir Jim will pay for some surgery for her.
Probably not.
Probably not. Now, elsewhere on the globe, World Cup qualification is happening. And Argentina face Uruguay tonight. They're currently top of the table, having played 12 qualifiers.
That seems too many, doesn't it?
That's too many games.
Yeah, well, that's
International fishing congestion.
But that's what I mean, Pete. When you were talking about Wales, like World Cup qualification starts so early for a lot of places. They just love it. They just get it. Get the FIFA.
Get the FIFA fever.
Get the FIFA fever with World Cup qualification. Where now Argentina midfielder Alexis Mac Allister was asked about his passion outside of football, right? And like it just. I love
footballers from this part of the world.
Argentina internationals, right?
Yeah.
They do behave themselves, by and large, when they get to Europe. When they get to Argentina...
When they're all together.
They've got a very
they just
informal
encourage each
relationship
other.
with the press, haven't they?
Often, not always for good. We need to say that, we really do. But Alexis Mac Allister was asked about his passions outside football, and he said, scratching my balls. That's a passion.
Scratching my balls.
I like football, laying on the couch and drinking mate. The drink that they love out there.
It sounds worse, written down, doesn't it?
Yeah,
drinking mate. I wonder what footballers' balls are like, because I know what mine feel like, and precious few others, if I'm completely honest with myself. Maybe I should get out there more. But footballers are constantly in and out of ice baths. They are constantly being massaged. Massage oils must be
a lot of chafe.
Must be a lot of chafe running around. A lot of like wicked nylon and stuff. It's not ideal. So I bet they're terribly red.
Do you think that they can expand and then decrease, like on demand, almost?
Like a zeppelin to go up?
Yeah, exactly. They have testicles like zeppelins.
Hide them.
Put them up inside your body. Like a sumo wrestler.
I just reckon there's a back of the pub trick there kind of thing. You know?
Alexis, if you're going to talk tall about you scratching your testicles, I want to see them.
Yeah, let's have a little look-see.
Yeah.
Of course, he'll be joined on international
duty. Shows you Mac Allister.
There we go. He'll be joined on international duty by Letty Ford, Julian Alvarez. Now, a prominent video editing expert has come out and said he believes UEFA manipulated their footage of that Julian Alvarez double touch penalty from their knockout game against Real Madrid.
Why would they do that
last week in the Champions League?
Has Alvarez bought a subscription to Adobe Premiere and now he's decided he's a video editing expert?
Well, in classic conspiracy theory tradition,
release the files, Trump.
Yeah, he said this was because shadows in the replay didn't appear to move.
Oh, God. They put it. So hang on. So how could they have edited it so quickly? Surely they put that out immediately. What? How did they edit it? Exactly.
I'm not an evil genius.
It's a good point, actually.
Through the looking glass.
I think there's a pruder footage over here. Rubbish.
I don't know. Well, the truth is out there. You can see the stuff for yourself.
It's time for this.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
He doesn't know what that means. He's not getting picked up for England either, is he? Jack's Encyclopedia! It's back for the 21st of March. Last week, Luke beat Marcus and Jim in the absence of a reigning champion, Vidushan Andraja. It's a simple game of categories. If you go too slow, you'll hear Gary Neville's orgasm. I've not run the rule over this game for a little while, so it'll probably be as professional as I usually am on this. Let's kick off with you, Marcus Speller.
Thanks.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready, by the way, Jim?
I am, yeah.
Okay, all right. I get concerned when you send me, you turn around your laptop and I can see your desktop.
Yeah.
Larry audio, podcast reads, ad stuff, pictures, very dull desktop.
Yeah, I mean...
Where's the honography? Right, Marcus. Yeah. Every English stadium that England have played a home game at since the year 2000. Every English stadium that England have played a home game at since the year 2000.
Wembley.
Yeah, fuck it.
Old Trafford.
Yep.
Sorry, what was the year?
Since the year 2000.
Okay. Thanks.
Not much has changed, but we won't live underwater.
No, I'll go for St James's Park.
Molineux?
Oh, good one.
Oh, I like it.
Anfield.
Correct.
They play at the Stadium of Light.
Yeah.
They did play at the Stadium of Light.
I'll go for...
We're going deep.
We are going deep. There can't be that many. I'll go for... Portman Road.
Nearly had my button on. There you go. Portman Road, correct. Well done, Marcus.
That is really, really good.
A deep dish.
That is strange in retrospect, isn't it? Some of these really do feel that way.
It really is. It's not that easy, this.
It's not that easy at all.
No.
It's not easy at this point.
No, it's really not. King Power?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, I did remember that one. Pride Park.
Oh, no. There we go. Well done.
Fuck. I'm struggling.
I'm forgetting the name of Middlesbrough's ground is the problem here. Can I have Middlesbrough's ground?
Can we have an adjudication?
All right, fair enough.
I hope you heard that on the mics. Comprehensive.
Do you know what?
Well
decision
you did well to remember
You
that
did
one because
very
I forgot
well.
on the Riverside.
The Riverside.
Of course, it's
The BT Cellnet.
It's the very name of the recording software we use for remote
Which
recording.
ones did we not get there?
You didn't get the Berlin ground, obviously. Elland Road, Etihad could have accepted this at Manchester Stadium, of course. Villa Park, St Mary's, the aforementioned Riverside, and White Hart Lane.
I was at that game of White Hart Lane, but I couldn't remember if it was 1999.
Was it against Brazil?
No, it was against Netherlands. And Mark van Bommel scored one of the best goals I've seen live. It was an absolute long ranger.
Lovely.
I remember, that is tricky.
That's a tricky one. Great round.
Forget the name of the stadium.
Great round. Good process from producer Finn. We're in there. Right, round 2. Jim, every player in the 2018... Every player...
That's
for months. Brassel's gone out in the second round.
Mr. T.
No! Jesus. Could be.
Yeah.
Right. I picked the wrong one. There's so many Jesuses in football. What do I go for that for? That's why I'm adjudicating this game, not doing it. Right, Jim. Every player in the 2018 England World Cup squad. Every player in the 2018 England World Cup
player in the
squad.
I'm going to go for Harry Kane.
I go for Jordan Pickford.
Correct.
I'm going to go for Jesse Lingard.
Oh, nicely done. I'll go for Harry Maguire.
You're going to go for Harry Maguire. You can have him.
Thanks.
I'm going to go for John Stones.
Eric Dyer.
Ooh, lovely stuff. Jordan Henderson.
Kieran Trippier.
Kieran Trippier, he says.
Good
I'm going to go
trips.
for Kyle Walker.
Ashley Young.
Dele Alli.
I'll go for Raheem Sterling.
Lovely. 2018. Got Raheem Sterling in there, he says.
It's Torres.
Bloody, that felt quick. Declan Rice. I think that's wrong.
No, it's not.
Oh, Marcus, can we have one?
I'll go for Jamie Vardy.
Oh, of course.
Marcus, wonderful.
Why is the belt not on the line here? When we do the international stuff.
Well done, Marcus.
Yeah.
Nice clean game.
There's some of the more pervy answers. Danny Welbeck.
Yeah.
Jack Butland.
See, I was thinking for goalkeepers.
Was Gary Cahill an answer?
Gary Cahill wasn't there.
Yeah.
Fabian Delph.
Delph.
That's a Steward's corner. Danny Rose. You had
Rose I should've got.
you had Marcus Rashford, Nick Pope, Phil Jones, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and Trent.
Yeah, people forget that Trent was in there.
He's been around longer than you think.
Yeah. No wonder Vision Luke didn't turn up today. They thought it was International Week.
Yeah, they're scared, mate.
A resurgent speller.